Okay, so moving on, we're now going to look at the Game Week 18 captaincy. So we've talked to death about wild cards and free hits and all the best players we think. So we put up a poll on Fantasy Football Hub earlier. We put up four options, which were De Bruyne, Fernandes, Kane, and Sterling. De Bruyne topped the poll with 54.6%. I was quite surprised. I thought it'd be higher actually. Bruno got 32.8, which is quite high. Kane only got 4.9% and Sterling got 7.7%. Adam, what are your thoughts on captaincy for Game Week 18?
I think looking at City, I think they've got the potential to score the most goals. So I would say, I think it depends on your appetite for risk. So I think De Bruyne is the safest. I think Bruno is a great captaincy option as well. Great away record. If when United score, he'll be involved. And they've got this great trait of being able to win, penalties. So it's a skill in the game, which not all of us appreciate as much as you, Fergie. But yeah, they've got this brilliant
Pogba's
trait.
a genius. Pogba's a
Yeah,
genius.
well, exactly. They're just absolute genius at manipulating the penalty box and referees. So I think there's a good chance they'll get a penalty, and for Fernandes' return. I think looking a little bit more out of the box, because it could just be an easy one. We could all just go De Bruyne and forget about it. I think there's two others that I would consider, depending on your appetite for risk. Sterling, I think, has got the capability of beating De Bruyne and he's a sort of player that's got a hat trick in him. So I think that's always good for captaincy.
I know who your second player is. It's Gundogan, isn't it?
No, it's not Gundogan.
No?
It's not.
Right.
No. This one will probably. I think Sterling people will understand. The other one is Lacazette, and I think there's always a risk with him starting, but the way that Arsenal have played, particularly the last three games, he's not necessarily having loads of shots, but he's getting a lot of big chances. I think he's right up there. There's just that risk that he's got very, very low ownership, so you'll benefit having him anyway. He could get pulled off in the 61st or minute. So if the things are either going their way or not going their way. They're the ones that I'd consider. A couple of out there ones as well. There's one player that we haven't mentioned, which at the start of the season you would think were absolutely mad. If you just said there was a free hit in this game week, and do you know which player I'm thinking of at the moment?
I'm personally thinking of Aguero because he's on my list.
Well, I think Aguero potentially, but I just don't think the fitness is there. But I think Aubameyang is somebody that is going to be overlooked, because I even think against West Brom, he had a couple of chances. At some point, Aubameyang is going to haul, and I can think. I just, if you look at his pattern for Arsenal, he's not had a spell this long where he's looked out of sorts. But I think in the next couple of game weeks, I can see a big haul from Aubameyang.
His stats are actually okay. So in his last four games, he's had 11 shots. 9 in the box, 3 big chances, and he's got an XG of 1.79. So he scored the 1 goal. So I think actually I do agree with you. I was having a look at him earlier. Lacazette's recent form is better than his, but I do think he is a real outside option if you're going to.
I think the problem is that there's other Arsenal options cheaper that are performing better. So otherwise, he could be. I mean, like we talked about Sterling, he could be a very good alternative to Sterling. Let's say you weren't going for Lacazette or Saka. Maybe say you were going El Ghazi instead of Saka, which again I think El Ghazi's a reasonable shout at the moment, form and stats wise. He could be worth a punt, and I wouldn't be surprised. We're going to do the top scoring player of the game week, but I would not be surprised if he gets a brace and with his extra midfielder points.
There was a few shouts on the chat. FPL, Geordie, Parky, Gavino all said Orba and Kay Lally and Strinjoy sided with me on Aguero. Who I think as well could be it's a punt. It's one of those that if you're looking to go left field with a potential chance, of a real haul, then he's there. But again, it all depends minutes on the weekend, or all.
Yeah,
Those
it will exactly. I
stuff.
think if Aguero, even if he, I just don't know if he'll start. I think he's had so many opportunities to start, and he's just not been. There's obviously some serious doubts on his fitness.
Well, apparently Pep said pre-game this evening that he will be ready to start the next game. But whether he gets a run out in the FA Cup, right, and then is benched again, who knows? But
You'd think maybe he'd get a run out. He'll start the FA Cup and possibly come on as sub for the following game.
and the only other two, we've mentioned already, Rashford and Son, are kind of other options there. But I do think KDB for me, he played in that number 9 role against Chelsea. He's on penalties, on free kicks, on corners. We mentioned it a couple of weeks ago around he's been looking dangerous. He didn't have the returns. He got the returns in the last game that he's been due, and I just think now he will kick on, and we'll just see more and more. And as as City's plays is quickening up, as all the players are getting better, getting sharper, Gundogan sitting in behind him, I think is helping him a lot as well. He doesn't have to go so deep now to get the ball and start the attacks.
I
think
great.
I think De Bruyne from now on, I don't like to use the word season keeper in Game Week 18, but I think he's a season keeper from Game Week 18.
Do you know what we talked about? You can only have 3 City players, but if you captain one, you've effectively got 4, haven't you? And I think Brighton at home. Yeah, if I said, if you were going to say that one of these games this week finished 5 or 6-0, you would go straight to that game, wouldn't you?
Yes.
So I think it's got the highest ceiling by far. So I of course Bruno could outscore him. That is possible because Bruno, has got the habit of getting points on the road and is very, very consistent. But I don't think you can look past De Bruyne. If you fancy more of a punt, maybe Sterling.
And according to our points prediction tool, again available for Fantasy Football Hub members, Kevin De Bruyne is top of the shop in terms of predicted points for Game Week 18. Bruno Fernandes is second. Raheem Sterling is third. Rashford is fourth, which is quite interesting. And Kane is fifth. So that's what our points prediction tool says.